What's going on, everybody? What's going on? I hope everybody is well. Hope you guys are doing it, making it do what it do. Right. All right, so let's jump into it here. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share, all that kind of good stuff. A lot of new subs. Appreciate it. If you are a new sub, make sure you go back to the old content. If you have any questions, you can always send them to me. But most importantly, go back to the old content and, hit the like button. I would really, really appreciate it. The algorithm would appreciate it, especially the part about hitting the like button. Very important. Consider becoming a member of the channel as well. So here's what I want to say. Here's what I want to get into for today. I want to talk about, ladies holding other ladies accountable. The other day I did a video. Can't recall if it was members only. Once I kind of do a video, it kind of leaves my mind. So sometimes people have come up with stuff, gone through older content. And I did the video, 3 months ago, and I don't remember what I said. So sometimes, once I do a live or whatever, sometimes I forget what I said. So anyway, so I did a video about, women holding other women accountable and things like that. So I'm going to put up a couple screenshots of some videos that I highly suggest that you all go back and watch. And, Shay Sharday, whoever I mentioned before, is doing some good work. Got Anton Daniels, and I think there's another one I wanted to put up there as well. And it's just about, we got to start holding each other accountable and really taking a look at how we're going to really in actuality and actually build a community. Now, as I record this, I don't know what's going on. Is this too dark here? As I record this, there's a there's some controversy about two of the, I guess, quote unquote, prominent figures within the black internet sphere, the black internet sphere. In particular, I'm talking about Cheyenne, Bryant, and Umar Johnson. And both of these individuals claiming to be doctors, although I think that, I think that Umar has really has the credentials. I've gone down that rabbit hole. I'm not going down there again. But anyway, so those two individuals are really dealing with and struggling with, their personas and their credibility and all that. And I'm not making a video to dump on them specifically, but I'm making a video to talk about our ability as a community to hold standards. And I'm bringing these two up because they had the ability, they had the attention. Cheyenne Bryant had the attention of women. Umar Johnson had the attention of men and women, particularly in the conscious community. And if he really would have done what he should have done, as far as his school and his personal life, he would have been unstoppable. And I don't know if the rumors are true that this man, he has a substance abuse problem, or if he has suffering from some form of mental illness. These are allegations that are going on out there, but what is undoubtable is that he is suffering from some sort of issue, or there's something going on with that man. I'm not going to try to diagnose him, and I say that with all love. I don't think he will ever watch this, but I really hope and wish that he would get the help, because his voice was someone that was really needed, and he really had the ability to orate, to dictate, he had vision, and to see it go down, because you can't control yourself. And that's a lesson to be in and of itself. Absent, if he had, mental illness, you got to get the help. You got to, listen to people who have the ability to have influence on you. This is why it's always important to be accountable to someone who can check you. That's why mentors, uncles, aunties, and this is still in the framework of this video. That's why it's so important, because people You got to be able to. Somebody's got to be able to say, pull your coattails and say, listen, you're doing too much. You're doing the most right now. You got to calm it down. You got to, bring it back to center. And so that is really, really, important. If you don't have that, you don't have somebody to check you, to be, some kind of guiding force, some type of guardrail, guide rail. You can make a mess out of things. So this is what I think is going on with Umar. I think probably a little bit of that with Cheyenne as well. I've made my pitch about why I don't think she's actually has her doctorate. But we saw her kind of implode on the Paul Pierce interview, and it's really unfortunate because I think there was a lot of ladies who could have looked up to her, who had for lack of a better term, a little bit of edge or swag, and looked at her and said, I kind of want to be like that. She's a beautiful woman, but she wasn't living the things that she's telling us. She's on these panels and wasn't living that type of life. So you got to be in this thing living the life. So again, one of the big videos that I wanted to address here is this one with Anton Daniels. And if you go watch that video, I'm not going to clip and play it. Number one, it's not a short little video, and I don't feel like watching it again to sift through it. But I do want to say that if you watch the video, this woman in the video that he is addressing is exactly what I think is very problematic within our community. It's very problematic within our community. We have people who get educations, still claiming to be the most educated. I don't know how these people have these degrees and don't understand how to read statistics or surveys or headlines or read into things or do their own independent research. And this is not to clown on them in particular, or the educational attainment of Black women, which we all are appreciative of. I mean, we should always celebrate all of us moving up. This isn't a competition thing, and it has to stop with this competition narrative and nonsense. But what this is just being accurate and true. It's being accurate. That's what it's being about. So listen, this particular lady was saying in the video that, again, they're the most educated, and she enjoys being ratchet and ghetto. She enjoys the lashes, the bonnets. Listen, I understand this narrative that says we don't have to adhere to European standards for them to be, for us to be, we shouldn't have to adhere to European standards for them to like us. On one side of their mouth, they say things like that. And then on the other side, they're putting lace fronts in their head. It doesn't make sense to me, but I've gone down that road in numerous videos. I'm not going to address that here. But I am saying if we don't adhere to those standards, we should have a standard. We have to have a standard. We have to develop a standard. We have to, create a standard, develop it, nurture it, and adhere to it. And have some consequences when those standards aren't met. That is the biggest part. We can create a standard. We can say, okay, we're all going to dress like this. We're all going to speak like this. We're all going to do that. But there has to be a consequence when there is no adhering to that standard. And the consequence to not adhering to the quote unquote European standards is that you don't get the job. You get fired from the job. You don't get the promotion. Right? You're not accepted in social society. That's the standard. Or that's the penalty for not adhering to the standard. So we got to develop that. We got to work on that. And we have to have something. Right now we have nothing. Bonnets in public, no bonnets in public. Fake eyelashes, no fake eyelashes. Raptor claws, no raptor claws. Septum rings, no septum ring. Nose rings, no. What's professional? What's not? What's good? Speech patterns, articulation. What is that? What does it look like? And what is the penalty when people don't keep that? In the same manner, I think that we ought to. I'm not excluding men from this idea either. You know, what is that? And we understand. You know, a lot of us. You know, we understand most of it. You know, sagging pants, hair done. You know, beard trimmed and groomed and all that stuff. So we're asking for the same thing. And you know, another standard that we have to have and you have to confront is with this T app, and that's why I put up Media Man. You know, if you watch that video, you know, these ladies, unfortunately, with this T app, told on themselves about their willingness to share men and go after the pookies. And you wonder, you know, I've talked about this before and other people have talked about this, but I'll say it again. You want to know why the good guys don't want to reach back? Is because reach back as far as being uncles and mentors is because you continue to enable the bad dudes. If you're going to go on these apps what's going on here? If you're going to go on these apps and not celebrate, you know, the Pookies, the Ray Rays, the Jailbirds. This is not a critique of them in particular, but it is a critique of the women who are selecting them over the guys who have done the right thing. It's definitely a critique of that. So, listen, if you're going to do that type of thing, I can go in here, right? Thank you, brother. If you're going to do that type of thing, and then you know, if you're going to sleep with this dude, be booed up with this dude, send him money, put money on his books, and then you want the good guy to mentor your kids, you know, that's not going to work. And guys are saying we're not doing that. So this is a community standard. This is a community standard that is lacking within our community. You know, you have to confront that. And unfortunately, it's the aunties, this woman in particular. I don't know what the romantic life of the woman in the video that Anton did, but this is certainly a problem. This is certainly a problem. When Cheyenne Bryant was telling women about marriage and this and that, and getting on Cam Newton about creating families and broken homes and this, that, and another, and you know, looking for different qualities and this, that, and then when she's pushed on that, turns out this woman spins the block for 5 years with some dude who's 9 years her junior. What is going on, right? So again, when the elected official or unofficial or unelected leaders are setting precedent, people are looking up to them. This is causing such damage. This is causing such damage to individuals and to our community that it's utterly ridiculous. And the young girls are looking up to these people and saying, I want to be like that. I want to dress like that. I want to talk like that. I want to walk like that. I want to be educated like that. And then they possess no level of education. Maybe I will play the video, or yeah, maybe I'll play the video.
What's so funny is black women is the most educated group of people in this country. But people don't even realize that though, because they be too fixated on us being ghetto looking. They think because we wear the long eyelashes or we wear the long weave or because we talk a certain type of way that we're not educated. No, we are versatile, baby. We talk like the way we talk is because that's how we was raised to talk, but we can switch up at any minute. See, that's where y'all be getting lost at, and y'all be thinking y'all educated. I'm sure get on this and look at me and say, oh, there's just another uneducated ghetto. Baby, I got 2 degrees, baby. I have a master's degree, okay? Yes, I'm very educated. I just get on it and like this because that's what I want to do. That don't make I promise you I'm way more educated than I act, okay? And then that's how y'all get lost in the sauce. Y'all be too fixated on how we look and how we sound, not even knowing educationally, we'll run circles around y'all.
When y'all gonna figure it out?
Possessing no idea had to make sure I didn't have anything in my mouth. It just came from the dentist. No idea of the damage, of the long-term damage that they're doing. And this is why, you know, there's another thing going on in the interweb about, you know, African Americans versus those of the diaspora. So listen, you know, and one of the reasons that they have, the Africans, or even Caribbeans and other people from the diaspora have a problem with African Americans is because of our lack of adherence to a culture. To a culture. What is that? Is it, why do you have so many baby mamas? Why do you have so many deadbeat dads? Why do you have so much high STD rates? Why do you have such an atavistic attitude in sexual freedom that is clearly destroying your community? Clearly destroying it. Clearly. So listen, I just want to drop this real quick and say we got to take a long, hard look at ourselves and you know, stop blaming other people, get it together, start working on each other, right? And all this other stuff, right? We got to get that. We got to get that because this is an issue. This is a problem we got to face. And when the aunties don't hold each other accountable, when the aunties don't hold each other accountable, and when they are the problem, these what I determining to be and others have determined to be quiches, right? Educated people from the hood, from the ghetto, going to school, getting an education, and then still continuing that ghetto behavior, whether it's their actual behavior, still sleeping with pookies, still overlooking these dudes, still haven't become a baby mamas, still not in the gym, still, you know, all this stuff, you know, you can't, you know, leverage anything, so you still go reaching back to pookies. There was, you know, Auntie Anita sent me a video. I think she talked about it, so that's why I said I wasn't going to talk about it, because I don't want to be seen like I'm bashing women. But when these women, you know, when you're a lawyer and you're getting your butt whooped, you know, why are you getting your butt whooped? But by some dude who goes both ways, or on the down low, or whatever he was. And no shade to anybody who's living that type of lifestyle, but you know, if that's what you want, that's what you want. That's totally fine. However, why are you letting them whoop on your tail? You know, at what point do you say to yourself, man, I need to do better. I need to be better. I need to walk, talk, look better. I need to do better. All right. I got too much education to still be behaving this way, to still be in the same environment, to still in the same situation that I would have been in had I not gone to law school, had I not got my master's, had I not got my PhD. Why are you in the same position? Romantically. Wild. Meanwhile, and the biggest problem I have with that is because there's dudes out here who, because of superficial reasons, you think to be too lame and corny. But they're not too lame and corny to reach back and be mentors to your children. But do you want your children to grow up and be this dude, or do you want them to grow up to be the thug? And if you don't want them to be that, then you can't keep sleeping with that dude. Listen, you sleep with who you want with. I'm trying to point out the hypocrisy and the double standard and the foolishness of that particular argument. So if you want to continue to go down that road, it is what it is. We just know got to know how to move and how to select. That's what the answer to that is. I'm not going to bash and beat you up about your mating choices. I'm just trying to point them out and saying your choices are destroying the community. Your choices are destroying the community. I had a video that I put up. I actually had to take some out of it because it got demonetized. I'm not going to just put it up there for free. So I'm going to re-upload it for the fall, because in the background there's no leaves on the tree. It'd be ridiculous to do it now. So anyway, so you know, I talked about in the previous video about ladies. You know, your mate selection choices are destroying the community, and that's a full stop sentence. Your mating selection choices are destroying the community. Are there bad mating choices that men are making? Absolutely. But if a good dude makes a bad decision with a bad woman, and he brings a child in the world, that good dude can still try to be in her life and try to do things the right way, and still try to be there and still try to be there. May even get custody of the kid. Certainly a possibility. Now, she's super toxic and all that. I mean, we can all go down these different rabbit holes, right? But a good woman who makes a bad decision, and right, can you then bring that child to a good dude or and you're reinforcing. The biggest part of it is why I'm saying that you're destroying the community, is because you're reinforcing in these dudes, this lifestyle is okay. If none of these dudes were getting any ladies, if they nobody was laying up with them and they're doing a T app and all this other stuff, if nobody was doing that, they wouldn't continue to do what they're doing. They'd go get a job. They do whatever they had to do because they want access to women, or they just go to jail and just just be out of society. So listen, I want the aunties to hold these girls accountable, but the problem is that sometimes the negative aunties, and I had a conversation with a young lady about this the other day. Sometimes the negative aunties the negative aunties, aka Keishas, are doing just as much damage to these other people. The refusal to work out, all the other stuff I've already listed. I just think it's so bad and so negative. So let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Hit me in the comment section. Again, this is not a bashing. It's just a call to arms. Just wake up and see what's going on. Wake up, see what's going on, and see if we need to make some adjustments along the way. And ask yourself, are you an auntie? Are you an auntie or a Keisha? Are you an auntie or are you a Keisha? Maybe I'll name this that. Are you an auntie or are you a Keisha? Are you a Cheyenne Bryant, want to be saying this, educated, but still chasing after Pookie? Or are you an auntie who is trying to do the right thing, who is living the right way, who's living by your word, and understanding that you are directly influencing the community, positive or negative? So let me know your thoughts or your opinions. Hit me in the comment section. Much love and peace.